They vanished without a trace. An entire colony, more than 100 men, women, and children, simply disappeared. No bodies, no weapons, no signs of struggle. Just one haunting word carved into a weathered wooden post. Croatoan. This is the story of the lost colony of Roanoke. A 400-year-old mystery that still defies every logical explanation. Was it disease? War? Starvation? Or something far darker? Something that history tried to erase? Tonight, we travel back to the edge of the New World, where ambition, faith, and fear collided on the shores of an unforgiving land. And we'll follow the final footprints of a colony that simply ceased to exist. Because what happened at Roanoke shouldn't have been possible. The year was 1590. After 3 long years away, English ships once again approached the coast of Roanoke Island. John White, the governor of the colony, stood on the deck, his heart pounding. He had left behind his daughter, his newborn granddaughter, and over 100 settlers when he returned to England for supplies. Now, he was coming home. But as his men reached the shore, something was terribly wrong. No smoke, no laughter, no movement. The settlement, silent. They found overgrown paths where once there had been a thriving camp. Houses dismantled. Belongings gone. There were no graves, no signs of battle, no skeletons. Just a strange calm, as if the entire colony had simply walked away. And then they saw it. The single word carved into the post, Croatoan. No cross of distress beside it, no message of help. Just that one word. John White's men searched for miles, along beaches, through forests, even downriver, but not a single trace of human life remained. The colony had vanished, completely. For centuries, the question has haunted historians and explorers alike. What truly happened to the men, women, and children of the Roanoke colony? The most common theory is that they sought refuge with a nearby tribe, the Croatoan people on Hatteras Island. The carved word, Croatoan, could have been a clue, a direction left behind for John White to follow. But when English ships finally reached that island years later, they found no trace of European settlers. No structures, no graves. Only stories, passed through generations of native oral tradition. Some tales spoke of strangers with pale skin, blue eyes, living among them. Others warned of sickness that followed soon after their arrival. Another theory suggests something far darker, that the colony fell victim to starvation, disease, or even conflict with local tribes. But if violence had occurred, where were the bodies? Why was the site so clean, as if deliberately abandoned? Then, there are those who look beyond reason. Stories of supernatural disappearance, of a curse upon the land. Some even whisper that the settlers were taken. In 1607, when Jamestown was founded, there were reports of tribes claiming to have seen survivors, Englishmen living deep in the wilderness. But no one ever confirmed it. And over time, the legend only grew. For centuries, the story of Roanoke became a puzzle passed from one generation to the next. Historians, archaeologists, and even treasure hunters, all chasing the same question. What truly happened to the lost colony? One of the earliest theories came from John White himself, the colony's governor. When he returned in 1590 and found the word Croatoan carved into the post, he believed the settlers had simply relocated to Croatoan Island, today's Hatteras Island. But when rescue missions tried to reach the island, storms forced them back. No one ever confirmed if the settlers made it there. Modern archaeology has uncovered European artifacts, tools, weapons, fragments of pottery found on Hatteras Island. Could these be the remains of Roanoke's settlers? Or just the traces of later trade between Englishmen and native tribes? Even today, no one can say for certain. Another theory suggests the colony split, some moving inland toward Chesapeake Bay, joining local tribes to survive. If true, their bloodlines could still exist among modern descendants, hidden in plain sight. But there are darker explanations too. Some researchers point to starvation and disease. The settlers simply perished, and time erased the evidence. Others believe they were attacked or absorbed by nearby tribes, their culture lost within generations. Then there's the most controversial theory, that the colony was part of something greater, something hidden from history, a secret mission. Whispers of early English espionage, of coded carvings and missing maps. Even the word Croatoan, some claim, may have been a marker. Not a location, but a message. A signal that the colony had been compromised, or perhaps silenced. But facts, cold, solid facts, remain scarce. Each new dig brings a fragment of pottery, a nail, a shard of glass. Each artifact whispers the same story. They were here, and then they were gone. In recent years, scientists have used ground-penetrating radar and DNA analysis to trace the settlers' legacy. But the results are still inconclusive. Roanoke remains a question, echoing through time.
The story of Roanoke is more than a mystery. It is a mirror reflecting our endless search for meaning, for belongings, for truth. Every civilization leaves behind its ghost, but this one left behind only a single word, the word of Croatoan, carved into a withered wood, a symbol, not just of loss, but of endurance. It reminds us that even when history fades, human curiosity does not. Each generation of historians, explorers, and dreamers has tried to bring the lost voices of Roanoke back to life. They researched the earth, maps, archives, and even that DNA of modern tribes, hoping for a trace, a whisper, or a name that connects the past to the present. But maybe the real legacy of Roanoke lies not in what we find, but in what it teaches, that progress, exploration, and ambition often come with a cost, and sometimes silence tells the loudest story of all. Think of the courage it took the 115 men, women, and children to leave everything they knew, to step into an untamed world. They dreamed of a new beginning, and even though their story ended in shadows, their spirit built the foundation for a nation that would rise centuries later. The lost colony may never be found in maps or ruins, but its echo still lives in every mystery we chase, in every unanswered question, in every explorer who looks at the horizon and wonders what is out there. Perhaps that is why the story of Roanoke still matters, because it reminds us that the unknown is not something to fear, but something to seek, the Christian, to imagine, to remember. So the next time you stand by the ocean and watch the tide pull away, think of them, the colonists who vanished into history. Maybe they were not lost at all. Maybe they simply became part of the land, the trees, the whispers of the wind, and as the waves wash the shore of Roanoke once more, their story continues, waiting, all wait, for someone to listen.